So let's talk about one of the most recent changes to Wakelet that I love, and that's called spaces. So you'll notice here on my Wakelet homepage, I have all my collections, my bookmarks, and my group collections. And you'll notice over to the left, I now have something new, a plus sign that says I can create a space. So let's talk about spaces. Many times you want to have collections that are in a certain category, and I know we've talked about arranging them in categories on our profile page, and we've done this by category here. But what I'm talking about is a way to make different spaces of collaboration. So spaces allow you to take some of your collections and put them in a particular space. So let's take a look at what I've done here. So this is my everything page, but I have one page called professional content, and in this space I've only added the collections that have to do with professional content. Then I can go over to created samples for Wakelet, and this is where I've just created a bunch of samples during professional development. I can throw those into this space and keep that private because those aren't really helpful to anybody else. Those are just fake ones that I create during training. Then I have one called ideas, and this is where when I get ideas from others, I can add them to this space. You'll notice that these are actually separate profiles. I have my profile, but then I also have other profiles here. Professional content profile, a created samples for Wakelet profile, and I have an ideas profile. But let's say I wanted to create a space that I want to use with students so all our collaborative projects go in it. So it's not really a professional content, it's not really something I created during PD, it's not really ideas. This is a space for a specific purpose. So I'm going to click that space. So I'm going to call this student collaboration space. And then notice you can create your image here. Notice it's just going to take the letter, but I'm going to change that. So I'm going to go to the library here from Unsplash, and I'm going to look for something that maybe has to do with students because I want this to reflect I've got a lot of students collaborating. So I'm going to take this one because it looks like a lot of people at a device. So I'm going to call this one student collaboration, and so that's going to really quickly eyeball and tell me that that's a collaborative student space. So I'm going to click create. So now here's the student collaboration space. So you'll notice at the bottom there's a place that says space settings. If I click on that, I've named it and I can go back and change my image that goes to it, but I do want to show you that there's a way that you can edit that name and that profile image. You can also delete this space. So I'm going to cancel that, but I did want to show you where that was. So under profile visibility, this is only for the student collaboration space. Now remember, I want this student collaboration space to be between me and my students. So let's look at this profile visibility for this space. Private says that this will not be viewable for anyone. The profile page for this space, if it's public, would be viewable for anyone. So I'm going to still leave this private for now, and I'm going to make this the collections within the space. Those are going to be the ones that I invite my students to. But in this particular case for now, I don't want to make this whole space viewable by everyone. I just want to keep it for myself, and then I'm going to create collections to share with students. Now we already talked about how to invite a student to collaborate on a collection. You can invite them with the code. If they have their own accounts, you can invite them with their email. So this is where I invite them to that collection, but I'm keeping that collection in the student collaboration space just so that as I'm building more and more collections, I have a better way to organize them. Okay, so now that I have this student collaboration space, I need to get my students into this space. So you'll notice I have no collections or bookmarks yet because I haven't created any, but I do have a section that says members. And when I click on members, it shows me. Of course, I am the owner, and that's why there's this little crown there. I feel super special. I'm the owner, and I want to invite members. When you click on invite members, you have two possibilities. You can copy the link that's there, and anyone with that link can then become a contributor to your space. I can also copy this code. I can also generate a new one if for some reason someone has gotten access to it and I need to change the code. I can do that. But for fun, I'm going to show you how a student would use this code. So a student would come to Wakelet. They would click on the plus sign to join or to create a space, and you notice there's a link that says Got Code. So if I click on that, I can paste that code there and join the space that way. That's going to help for those who have Wakelet accounts and would like to join your space. But either way, you can copy and invite with the URL, or you can copy or invite by code. Anyone that has that link or has that code can create collections in this space and can contribute and edit collections or even delete their own items in that space. They can't delete the items of others. I, as the owner, can do that, but it allows them to have management and be able to create and add things in this space. So this space then indeed becomes a place where I can create collections and students contribute to it, or they can even create their own collections within my space. So now you see how Spaces even more broadens the ability for students to be able to show their creativity, curate resources, collaborate, and connect with one another around those resources on a particular content area. So when I create a collection in this space, it's only going to appear in this particular space. For example, you'll notice in the professional content, I have kudos for the A team. But if I go into my particular profile, I don't see kudos for the A team in here because I've taken that out and I've put it into a different space. So it kind of keeps them organized. It's a way to organize your collections in different profiles, in different spaces. So that's what spaces are. If you're just creating your first collection, you don't have to worry about spaces, but you'll see that as you make more and more and more collections and then you invite others to collaborate on them, you're going to have so many collections, you're going to feel a need to organize them. So if you think about spaces as different categories of your technical life, so to speak. So I have my student collaboration spaces, I have my professional collaboration spaces, then I have those spaces where I just put ideas in, and then I have another space where I'm putting the samples that I create for training that are really for nobody but me, but I use them while I'm doing instruction. So that's what spaces are, is a way to give yourself a room to create collections about a specific topic or for a specific reason. So make Wakelet spaces work for you. Find your collections and put them into categories of spaces so that you can better focus on what the content is about. Think of your spaces as a purposeful place to store your collections. Each space has its own purpose. So in my particular situation, I have a professional purpose of collections. I have the purpose of needing to organize my ideas. I have the purpose of needing to organize my student-focused collections. Some people maybe even have one on this is my travel. So these are all my travel collections. So think of those as umbrella categories for your collections. Enjoy Wakelet spaces and the organization it can bring for you.